A locked door, a dimly lit bunker, and a man once followed by millions now surrounded by silence. Outside, a city lies in ruins. Inside, history is about to close one of its darkest chapters. How did one individual rise so high, fall so far, and leave a mark on the world that still shapes our lives today? To understand Adolf Hitler, we have to step back into early 20th century Europe, a continent shaken by war, economic collapse, and wounded pride. Germany, defeated in the First World War, was struggling under harsh peace terms. Political chaos and widespread poverty. Old certainties had vanished, and many people were desperate for someone to blame and someone to follow. In this fragile atmosphere, extreme ideas found fertile ground, and voices promising national revival suddenly sounded convincing. Hitler himself did not begin as a powerful figure. Born in Austria in 1889, he failed to gain entry to art school and drifted through Vienna, living on the margins. When the First World War broke out, he volunteered for the German army and found purpose in military life. Germany's defeat in 1918 hit him hard. Like many others, he believed the nation had been betrayed from within. This belief, combined with his personal frustrations and growing political obsessions, formed the foundation of a dangerous worldview. The real shift came after the war, when Hitler joined a small extremist group that would later become the Nazi Party. What set him apart was not wealth, education, or status, but his ability to speak. In crowded beer halls, he delivered speeches filled with emotion, resentment, and simple answers to complex problems. He blamed Germany's troubles on democracy, minorities, and political enemies, while presenting himself as the voice of national rebirth. As economic crises deepened, especially during the Great Depression, more people listened. The turning point arrived in the early 1930s through a mix of legal political maneuvering, backroom deals, and mass propaganda. Hitler was appointed Chancellor of Germany in 1933. It was not a dramatic coup at first, but a calculated step into power. Within months, he dismantled democratic institutions, crushed opposition, and transformed Germany into a one-party dictatorship. What began as a promise of order and pride quickly became a regime built on fear, control, and absolute loyalty. The consequences were vast and devastating. Hitler's aggressive nationalism led to the invasion of neighboring countries and, ultimately, the outbreak of the Second World War. His racist ideology resulted in the systematic persecution and murder of 6 million Jews, alongside millions of other victims. In one of history's greatest crimes, Europe was left shattered, tens of millions were dead, and entire cities lay in ruins. The war redrew borders, collapsed empires, and altered the balance of global power. Yet there are lesser-known details that add depth to this story. Despite his carefully crafted image as a strong, decisive leader, Hitler often avoided direct military command early on and relied heavily on generals he later distrusted. He also banned certain modern art styles while privately admiring some works he publicly condemned. These contradictions reveal not a mythical monster, but a deeply flawed human being whose personal obsessions were magnified by unchecked power. The legacy of Adolf Hitler still shapes the present day. The horrors of his regime led directly to the creation of international human rights laws, the founding of the United Nations, and ongoing efforts to prevent genocide. Germany's modern commitment to democracy and remembrance is also a direct response to this past. Even today, discussions about propaganda, extremism, and the fragility of democratic systems often trace their warnings back to this period. Understanding this history matters, not to glorify it, but to recognize how easily fear and anger can be manipulated. Stories like this remind us why critical thinking, historical awareness, and responsibility in leadership are so important. If you found this account thoughtful or informative, consider liking and sharing it so others can learn from the past too. And if you'd like to explore more stories that shaped our world, there are many more waiting to be told.